everybody. Welcome to the Mafia Means Family podcast.
I'm Mafia Mom.
And I am Mini Mafia. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, and hit that notification bell for more extremely cool content.
All right, well, it's much better to be back this week after a big win by the Bills. How are you doing this week?
I am doing great. I just finished up. This is our third week of school, and I still hate it.
All right, fair enough. Before we get into the football stuff, anything new?
No, not really. Just I did have a little hard collision yesterday with my friend Logan. It was completely on accident. We were just playing some simple touch football, and we just collided. I got the worst of it, but I'm okay.
All right, well, that's good. Yeah, you got a little black eye there, right?
Kind of, and also not really.
Battle scars, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You also you got a replacement jersey, right?
I did. I got a new Stefan jersey.
Yep. And what I don't know if we mentioned it last week. What else did you get for your birthday?
I got a Kincaid jersey, the rookie tight end.
Yes. So definitely a Bills family when it comes to gifts. So welcome everybody in the chat. Please feel free to share any insight you might have or questions you might have. And we're the most fun part of the part of this that's the most interesting and the most fun is definitely interacting with you guys. So please feel free to share any thoughts that you're having or opinions. So now on to the fun part, the Buffalo Bills. Yes, so what did you think of the game this week?
I thought it was great. They played great. Some people say that they only played great just because they were playing a bad team. But I honestly don't think that the Raiders are that bad of a team. Like, they aren't like Carolina or Atlanta or something like that. They're like Bears level. They're not bad, but they're bad.
Yeah, I would say, I don't know if I agree that they're Bears level. I think the Bears are a lot worse. I think the Bears may be the worst team in the league. But the thing that where I keep getting hung up, first of all, the strength of schedule thing is garbage because strength of schedule only seems to count when it counts against the Bills. So, like, I think it was either last year or the year before, we had one of the toughest schedules in the NFL, and nobody cared about strength of schedule. Yet, when we have the easy schedule, all of a sudden, well, who have they beat? I could care less. It doesn't matter. But the bigger reason why I don't care who we played against was because we did not lose that game week 1 to the Jets because they were the better team. We lost that game because of our mistakes. That mistakes, I don't care if you make them against the worst team in the league, even a college team, you're going to lose the game. If you turn the ball over 4 times like that, it was inexcusable. So I don't care that it was a bad team that we won against. And I don't even care. I'm not excited as much that we won 38-10, even though that was a really convincing win. I am far more excited at the way that we won that game. Clearly, Allen got the message. Hopefully it sticks and we don't go back to hero ball Allen in a week or two. But just the level of efficiency that the entire team played with, offense, defense, special teams, was really, really impressive. What do you think?
I definitely think it was impressive, especially the Damian Harris 60-yard punt return, I think it was.
Kickoff return, yep. That was good. It was nice to see special teams get involved.
Also, Mafia Mom, you were right about your hot take. She was right. Diggs had more catches but less yards. Davis had less catches but more yards.
Yes. It wasn't a super hot take, but we're definitely going to review some of the takes that we had from last week. Anybody who was with us last week, or I can remind you if you weren't, Mini Mafia got his hot take from week 1 right. He said that Garrett Wilson would be shut down, and he was.
I didn't. I said Sauce Gardner would get exposed.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. You said Sauce Gardner would get exposed, and he was.
I was going to say that Garrett Wilson.
You're right. And you would have been right about both of them, for the record. But we actually got some more stuff right this week. So clearly our predictions are not too far off base. But we'll get to that a little bit later. First thing that we want to do here is we want to give out players of the game for this week. And I think they're going to seem a little obvious, but after the way that the week 1 went down, I don't think there's any such thing as like a given with any of our players. If they play well and they play within themselves and they help the team win, I think they should get credit for it. So you want to go first?
I will. For my offensive player of the game, I have an easy one, Josh Allen. He played an extremely good game against the Raiders. He had I think he had 274 passing yards. I think he had 4 passing touchdowns.
3 passing touchdowns.
He had 3 passing touchdowns and no turnovers.
Yep.
I was actually almost right about that.
Yep, we're gonna cover that a little bit later, but you were very close to it. Yes.
And then
Yeah.
for my defensive, I have Matt Milano. Just the way he played, I think he had like a couple tackles for loss.
I don't know if he
Um,
had a tackle for loss, but he played a great game
he
for sure.
had he played an amazing game, and the way he ripped the ball away from Josh Jacobs and head topping him was amazing to me.
That was awesome. I'm not sure if I've ever seen a linebacker moss a running back before. That could be one of the coolest interceptions I've ever seen. It was very reminiscent to me of the early game we played last year against the Steelers, where Josh threw up the second deep ball to Gabe Davis and he ripped it away from Minka Fitzpatrick. It just shows who wanted it more in that moment. And yeah, it was super impressive. I agree. I think the most impressive part about Josh Allen's game had a lot more to do with his efficiency and the fact that he never felt the need to force it. I know people are talking the national media, which I hate paying attention to them. Like they're so narrative pushed as opposed to fact pushed. But the whole hurdle thing, I don't really care about that. I'd much rather see him try to hurdle the guy than taking on the guy with his shoulder. I think he's more likely to get hurt the second way or fumble. But Allen just constantly taking the short pass, constantly taking the dump off, never forcing it. The only time he really threw it deep, there were two times. One was on the free play. He knew he had the free play. The second was on the broken play to Gabe Davis. I think it was in the fourth quarter down the sideline, the right sideline, where it was either Davis going to catch it or it was incomplete. But he took no chances with the ball. From my memory, now Allen's had a lot of really great games. He's thrown 5 touchdowns in a game. He's thrown 4 touchdowns and 400 yards. And he's had some great games. This was his 5th game. I'm sure everybody's heard the stat by now. His 5th game of having at least 80% completion and 3 touchdowns. That is more than anybody's ever had before they were 30. He's only 27, so he's clearly going to continue to add to that. But the most impressive part to me, the reason why this game was so impressive to me for Allen was even in those great games, and you guys in the chat, please let me know if you agree, there was always at least one throw that made me go, "Oh, Allen, we got lucky there. What are you doing? What do you think? Do you feel like he's played a game that clean before?"
I think he's definitely played a game that I don't think. I think it was his 2020 season, his best season.
Yep.
I don't think he. I think he definitely had a couple of those, but I think in one of the games he didn't have any of them.
Yeah, I don't recall a game where at least once a game there wasn't a throw like that or a place where he put the ball in jeopardy, even running the ball. Maybe didn't feel a guy coming up behind him on a run or something and it could have been stripped. But either way, it was beautiful to see, especially after the slide he had been on recently. And Joey Hatch in the chat here points out that Josh Allen was Offensive Player of the Week. And I want to say he's won that like 8 times now. Yep. So clearly,
Right.
there's a lot of people that agree with you there.
I
And
was
I think he
right.
deserved it. It wasn't the most interesting game. It wasn't a highlight reel type of a game, but it was the exact type of game that Allen needed. I thought it was going to be very hard to actually bounce back against the Raiders after that week 1 loss. But the only way that we could have was the way that we did, with just an efficient, smart game where Allen took care of the ball. And it was perfect. If we can play like that consistently and win like that consistently, this offense is unstoppable because you still have the superhero Josh in your back pocket. You still have that if you need to go to it in a game against a Mahomes or a Burrow. But the idea that you can also win the boring way, it makes us far more dangerous, in my opinion. Do you want to read the
From Joey Hatch, defense. What do you stop the leading rusher for -2 yards?
Yeah, you're right, man. All we heard all week was how the Bills couldn't stop the run. And that actually leads to my defensive player of the game, which would be the defensive line. A rushing leader has never been held to negative yards in a game before. And I kept saying last week, it was 180-yard run. You take that out, which I understand it counts, but it's not like they were just giving up big run after big run after big run, 6-7 yards a pop. That's not how it was. They gave up one big run, and the rest of the time they pretty much held in check. I think there was one other play that they let him get loose. Um, and watching them constantly penetrate, I know the Raiders don't have a great O-line. Josh Jacobs doesn't seem to be up to his normal self, but that was really impressive. I don't care who they have running the ball back out there to hold them to -2 yards. Very impressive. My offensive player of the game, I'm going to give it to the running backs, and that's all 3 of them, and the O-line. watching Spencer Brown work on Max Crosby all day, and I know we had help.
Crosby.
He was unbelievable, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We were worried about that, right? That was one of the things that we talked about last week, that we were concerned. And how do you think he held up against Max?
He held up great against Max Crosby, surprisingly, since he hasn't shown the best playing against worser edge rushers.
Yeah.
Against worse edge rushers. So to do that the next week, it against one of the top 10 edge rushers in the league, is amazing, even though he only had help like 2 or 3 times in that game.
I think he had help a lot in that game, but that's not the point. I don't think we've seen Spencer Brown play up to that level, and it's really encouraging, because if we can get that out of him every week, our O-line is suddenly at the top half of the league, at least, instead of the bottom half. And if Josh can have that kind of time, that's going to make us even more dangerous.
Honestly, without the help, honestly, I still think he could have handled him the way he was playing. I think he definitely would have let him gotten through 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
But I still think he would have done a pretty good job.
Yeah. And Joey here points out it was a great game for Josh Allen. He was taking what the defense gave him, and he also threw the ball into the ground the first time I think I've ever seen. Yeah, I'm with you. And it's okay to throw the ball away, especially when you have a lead or when it's first down. It's okay to take an incompletion. It's fine. Move on. It's much better than throwing it into triple coverage 70 yards down the field with your shortest receiver. I'd much rather take the incompletion and even punt if it's on third down. The other thing that impressed me about the O-line was the run holes. That the way that we ran the ball, we completely dominated them up front. And again, no, it's not a great front. I understand the front we're going to face in week 3 and the front we faced in week 1 were a lot better, but that's still impressive the way they manhandled the Raiders D-line. It was very impressive. So I think the O-line deserves a lot of credit across the board, and the running backs, and then of course the defensive line, who were in the backfield all day. I think Ed Oliver, they should have just let him start lining up in the backfield next to Jacobs, because that's where he played the entire game. It was seriously very impressive. Anything else you want to add about last week's game before we move on to Factor Flag?
No, just if any of the Bills players are watching, great game, you guys, and hope you do it again next week.
Perfect. All right. Well, this is, I know, your favorite segment of the show. And if you're in the chat here, please feel free to play along. So this is Factor Flag. I'm going to make a statement, and if you believe it is true, it's fact. If you believe it's false, it's a flag. And Mini Mafia will pick up his little yellow flag here. So the first one for Factor Flag. The Bills have defeated Washington in all 9 matchups since the Super Bowl game where they faced off at the end of the 92-93 season.
Well, I still think that the Commanders, after that they started to get worse. So I think that's a fact.
Okay. I'll give it a few minutes here, see if anyone wants to play along in the chat. I will tell you overall, the Bills are 10 wins and 6 losses against the Commanders in their entire history. But the Factor Flag that you're voting on here is that the Bills have defeated Washington 9 straight times, dating back to the 92-93 Super Bowl when they faced each other. 9 times in a row. Yeah, they've faced each other 9 times since the 92-93 Super Bowl. I'm saying the Bills have won all of those matchups. All right, so
it's just unbelievable to be true.
Okay, you were very close. I mean, you're not close because it's a flag, but you're very close. And the Bills have actually won 8 out of 9 of those matchups. So in recent years, for the last 30 years, the Bills have dominated this matchup between them. The only loss came.
Wait, Mom. Go back in time.
No.
Let's go. I got the right answer.
The only loss came, it was pre-Josh Allen. I want to say it was 2014 or 2015. It was in Washington. So that bodes well for us, right? History's on our side there. All right, question number 2. The highest completion percentage of Allen's career in the regular season was 83.8%. Now, he achieved that this past game. That is the highest in team history.
Say what?
I'm telling you, that first part is true. Okay. So the highest completion percentage of Allen's career in the regular season was 83.8%. He
So
also
that's true.
achieved it. That part is true. He also achieved it against the Rams last season on the opener. The factor flag part is that is the highest completion percentage recorded in Bills history.
I mean, like, who was our quarterback before Josh Allen?
Oh, we had an entire parade of QBs between Jim Kelly and Josh Allen.
Well, who were some of them? I know Ryan
J.P.
Fitzpatrick.
Lossman, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Trent Edwards, E.J. Manuel, Kyle Orton, Tyrod Taylor. Like,
yeah, I think it's true. The only one that probably could have beat it was either Tyrod Taylor, which I don't think he did, or Jim Kelly himself.
Okay, all right.
Also, back then, quarterbacks they had less protection on their side, so like they were getting like hit like a lot more, and the middle was a lot harder to pass through.
That is absolutely true. I'm old enough to remember watching games where it was dangerous to go over the middle. Andre Reed did that very, very well. So again, I'll just give it a second here, see if anybody else wants to play along. So the question was 83.8%. That was the completion percentage, the highest of Allen's career. He recorded it both this past game as well as week 1 last year. And the factor flag part is that is the highest percentage in team history. So we'll just give it a second here. And you're saying fact, right? So 0 for 2 today. Oh, you were on such a roll. So you're close though again. It's actually the second highest in team history. I did try to find out who was the highest, but I gave up pretty quick. It wasn't popping up instantly. So I said, it doesn't really matter. I know it wasn't Allen and moved on. All right. That's all right. We got 6 questions today. So we got more time. So ready for question 3?
Yeah.
Okay. That this past Sunday, James Cook, for the first time in his career, went over 100 yards rushing in a game. So congratulations to him. That's only the second time of Allen's career where he had a running back go over 100 yards. Now, Josh Allen has gone over 3 times himself, but that's only the second time in his career that a single running back went over 100 yards. What do you think? Factor flag?
Did it. I know.
Did or did not?
I know I'm pretty sure he did it once.
Okay.
I think McCoy might have done it when Allen was in.
So he played 1 year with McCoy. I think it was, let's see, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022. He played 4 years with Singletary and then so far with Cook. So Joey Hatch, I see your comment there. Hang on, you keep thinking for a second about it will be 10 wins in a row. I just want to be clear. So we actually only beat them 8 out of 9 times. The statement I said was a flag, so it was false. So it'll be 9 out of 10 wins after Sunday. At least that's what we're hoping for. I never want to jinx us, so knock on wood there. So what do you think? Was it only the second time of Allen's career where a running back had 100 yards or more? And again, in the chat, please feel free to play along.
I think it was.
Think it was?
I think I'm 0 for 3 then now.
All right. And Joey's saying yes. I'm not sure if he's saying yes to this or yes to before. So so the answer is actually 0 for 3. Yes. So it is false. However, he's only had that 4 times in his career. Singletary accomplished it 3 times. Shady never accomplished it with Allen. So this is a rarity. And I will say that in those 4 games, so in the 3 games where Josh Allen went over 100 yards rushing, we are 0 and 3. In the 4 games where the Bills had a running back go over 100 yards, we're 4 and 0. So clearly getting the running game going assists with our wins. So let's try to do that a little bit more often, especially if the O-line is going to play that well. All right, you ready? I think you're going to get this one right. You ready?
Wait, Mom, isn't there 6?
Yeah.
Isn't there? Okay, there's 6.
Okay, so the Bills only converted 7 fourth downs all of last year. They had 3 in Sunday's game alone. But the factor flag part is they only converted 7 all of last year. You're throwing the flag? All right, we'll just give a minute here and see if any.
True. I know that they completed like 3 in 1 game.
Joey's saying yes, yes, yes. He's disagreeing with you. And Joey would be correct.
I was just gonna say that's probably
So you're just having a rough day today. That's okay. You started out perfect. You got 6 for 6 in the first 2 weeks. So yes, we only had 7 converted 4th downs all of last season. So to have almost half of that in 1 game, it was exciting to see. Okay, on to the next one. We got two more here. So, and this was probably one of the most impressive drives I've ever seen. The drive to start the second half, 8 up, 9 minutes and 1 second of the game clock. That was the longest drive ending in a TD by the Bills in Allen's career. So that 9:01 drive, that 9 minute and 1 second drive that ended in a touchdown. It was the one to start the second half. That is the longest drive ending in a touchdown in Allen's career. 9 minutes is a long time on the clock.
Wait, what?
You need me to repeat the whole thing?
No, just the fact part.
It's that the 9 minute and 1 second drive to start the second half was the longest drive ending in a touchdown of Allen's career.
Yes.
You think that's a fact?
He never takes that long to get down the field.
Okay. And Joey here is pointing out that James Cook had 126 yards. Yeah, he was some of that was him too. I mean, I know I gave offensive line credit, but like there was a few times where he had contact in the backfield or he was pinned down in the backfield and somehow still got positive yards out of it. So he really showed his quickness and his ability to be elusive in the open field. It was really great to see. He also caught a couple passes. So just all around a great game for James Cook. And I think he showed us why he was drafted in the second round, and he showed us what the offense could look like if he's involved more often. Okay, back to the question here. So you think this is a fact? Ding, 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 ding. You got one right. So that is the longest drive ending in a touchdown in Allen's career. Okay, we got one more here. You ready? Okay. So Stefon Diggs, who used to play for Minnesota, has played against Washington 4 times. In those games, he has averaged 111.8 yards. That is all true. Okay.
Yeah, 11.8 yards.
111.8. Okay. Here's the factor flag part. He has scored in all 4 of those games.
Wait, what?
That's the factor flag part. Has he scored in all 4 of those games? Factor flag.
In all 4 games that he's averaged 118.
He's averaged 111.8 yards in those 4 games against Washington. The factor flag part is he has scored a touchdown in all 4 of the games.
I mean, like if he had a 111.8 yards, I would think that's true.
That's a lot of yards. You're right.
It's a lot of yards, and I think he would have had to have gotten at least 1 touchdown.
Yeah, at least 1. But I'm saying he scored in all 4. Beth, I'm glad you didn't miss us. Hey, Beth, how you doing tonight? I'm very glad you were able to join us.
I'm doing great, Beth.
So what do you think? Diggs has played 4 games against Washington. He averages 111.8 yards. The factor flag part is he has scored a touchdown in all 4 of those games.
I'm saying it's a fact.
Saying it's a fact. 1 for 5 today, Ken. Sorry. He has actually only scored 1 touchdown, which I was pretty amazed at considering 111.8 yards a game. His lowest performance against Washington was actually his game with the Bills. He only got 62 yards. So obviously with Minnesota, he was really exploiting them in different ways. I really believe Diggs is going to have a really good day this week, though. So we'll see how it goes. Before we move on to the next segment here, because we're done with factor flag, Buffalo Bill Wong said, how is Tremaine Edmonds doing in the Bears? I hope I didn't mispronounce your name there. I mean, the Bears are struggling, so it's really hard with a defensive player to say they're doing well when the team is 0-2 and is just not even been competitive. I think Tremaine Edmonds will do fine wherever he is. He's going to make some plays. He's going to be a presence. But the thing as a Bills fan that always drove me crazy was his lack of ability to act on instinct. And I don't think that has changed. So we'll see how it goes. They have a very young team, and it's going to take some time for it to mesh. Unfortunately, they came in this season with some expectations, and I don't think that was a good thing for a team that young and that unproven. So we'll see how he does. I'm rooting for him, though. I got nothing against Tremaine Edmonds. I understand that he was offered a lot of money to play somewhere else, and he took it, and that's totally fine with me. So on that note, actually, I will mention, though, that Tyler Bernard got his first interception, right?
Yes, he did.
That was very exciting.
Actually, my boy Groot tipped it.
He did. Groot had a good game, too. That whole defense played really, really well. All right, so we're going to move on now. This is where we're going to summarize a few of the picks that we made last week. So one of the things that was very, very close was last week, Minnie, you said that you believed Josh Allen was going to throw for 263 yards, 3 passing touchdowns, 0 turnovers. And he threw for 274 yards, 3 passing touchdowns, and 0 turnovers. So very good. I got to tell you, like, congratulations. That was very, very close to being accurate.
Thank you so much.
Now, just to be fair, you did say he was going to have another touchdown on the ground and 50 yards rushing. Obviously, that part didn't happen, but still impressive that you were that close to it. Beth here mentioning, you want to read that one?
Yeah, Gru rocked that play. Tyler Bernard got that ball too. Hyde made sure he got it. I would think so, especially because Hyde has played with a lot of young guys.
Mm-hmm.
This is, I think, his 10th year in the league, or
He's
his
been around
ninth.
for a while.
It's his 9th or 10th. He's been playing for a while, and just like the connection with all the guys, I would think that at least one of them, like Poyer or Hyde, or White even, like the most like the pranksters kind of.
Yeah.
Especially like a second year guy would have gotten his first interception.
Yeah.
Like it was
first
interception ball.
It was. I love seeing any of that. I love seeing guys score their first touchdowns, get their first interception, first fumble recovery, whatever. Joey here, you want to read that one? That was to you.
Joey said, "Good job, young man. Thank you, Joey."
Calling it, so very good. Yeah, I saw that Beth on the Hyde was mic'd up during the game, and I heard him saying, "You kept it right, you kept it right." And then I don't know if you caught it at the very end. Bernard was on the sidelines. I think it was as the game was winding down. He had his helmet off, and he turned to Hyde, and he just looked like such a little kid. And he was like, "I got my first pick today," and like the joy on his face was just. You could tell these guys just love going out and playing, and he was just so excited, and good for him. Again, always an exciting thing when they get that. So congratulations to him and to you on your call. Now, a few other things that we were in the range of last week. My score prediction was 38-17. Obviously, I predicted one more touchdown, but I think that was pretty close and worth mentioning. And also, as you mentioned earlier, my hot take, and I use that word very loosely, I understand this wasn't super hot last week, was that Davis would have more yards in the better game, but Diggs would have more catches and more targets, and both of those things did happen. And I know Beth also had mentioned that she believed that Diggs was going to have a great day. I didn't mean to not get to that comment, Beth, so I totally agree. So we'll see what happens there. And then you want to read that one from Beth?
Beth said, "Welcome to the league, dude. I loved hearing that. I actually have another thing to add. It's not about the Bills, but it's about Nick Chubb and unfortunately his injury. If anybody's watching this that knows Nick Chubb, which I don't think anybody is, hopes and prayers to you. And I hope you're okay."
Yeah, that was really tough to watch. I don't know if anybody watched the Monday night game between the Steelers and the Browns. It was a really entertaining game. A lot of back and forth. A lot of really interesting plays, 2 defensive scores. It was a crazy game. But watching Nick Chubb go down, like my heart just broke for him. That was really tough to see. Okay, so now we are going to go on to our keys of the game for this upcoming matchup against the Commanders. So would you like to go first? Keys of the game?
I want you to go first.
Okay, you want me to go first? Great, I got to find it on here. Oh, my keys to the game. Go ahead. You go first.
Okay, my keys to the game is for the defense, we got to get pressure on their QB. I forgot what his name is, but this is only
Sam Howell.
Yeah, Sam Howell. He's a very young quarterback. I think he only played 1 game last year.
It wasn't much. He played minimal. Yeah. He's essentially still a rookie.
This is basically his first year actually playing, so he's gonna make some mistakes. And I hope that we can definitely capitalize off of that. Mm-hmm. And then my offensive key to the game is the offensive line. They have 2 very good edge rushers.
They do.
I think his name is Chris Young. And then Jonathan Allen. Those guys are both very important to the team, and I really hope that the tackles can step up. I hope everybody can step up on the O-line. And I just hope that all of them have a good game, and we can keep Josh off his butt.
Yeah, I totally agree with all that, and I'm glad that Mafia Sports Report mentioned this here because I had just seen this right before we did the podcast. We were at my daughter's soccer game. She got an assist on the one goal her team scored, so congrats to her for that. They played a really good game, but I had just seen this online that Trayvon Diggs tore his ACL in practice and he's done for the year. That's got to be really rough. Dallas has been looking good this year. Now, of course, Dallas always goes through a spurt where they're looking good in the season. So who knows? They're kind of like Miami in that way. But he's such a young player and he's had so much impact on that team. And then being the connection to Buffalo with Steph here, definitely heartbreaking. And hope that he heals up quickly and that he can get back on the field by the beginning of next year because that's rough, man. That really stinks.
I Diggs, knowing that, I guarantee that he was crying when he heard that. I mean, like it's his younger brother. Anybody would, and for his brother, he is going to ball out on Sunday. This man right here is going to have a day. He's going to have one of his best games of his career. I'm calling it.
That's a really valid point. Beth and I were agreeing earlier that we thought Diggs was going to have a good day, and that was before the Trayvon injury. Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think you could tell Knox last year played with a lot of passion because of his brother. I think Diggs will have a similar response. Allen, when his grandmother passed away, came out through for 404 TDs. So yeah, I think obviously he didn't pass away, thankfully, but it still is a tough thing. So I'm sure he's dedicated this game to his brother. Steph is going to play twice as hard. Yeah, I'm with you on that for sure. So my keys to the game, very similar to yours, I would say. And yeah, you want to read that one from Beth real quick?
Yep, Minnie, you read my mind. I am the
and then she had mentioned that we got to rattle his cage, Sam Howell. And I agree. My defensive key is right along that line. I think McDermott in the past has shown to be very effective at confusing, no whether it was him or Leslie Frazier, but confusing and making life difficult for young QBs. This is the first time we've been able to see Sean's aggression mixed with that concept of confusing young QBs. So I expect to see a lot of disguising on the back end. I expect them to appear to be in zone and then switch to man last minute, or appear to be in a too high and then switch to a quarters, things like that. Just little things that force Sam Howell to make decisions after the snap that he couldn't have made before the snap because he didn't know what defense we were in. So I expect a lot of that.
They might go from a dime defense to a nickel defense.
Well, that's harder to do because you have to change personnel for that. But things like bringing 6 guys up to the line of scrimmage, and then Sam Howell and the offensive line have no idea, are they blitzing? Are 2 of them going to back out? Which 2 are going to back out? How do I slide my protection? Force him to make decisions on the move. Do not make it easy for him. Do not sit back there in a zone. He's playing very, very with a lot of confidence, and I don't give him a chance to get rolling because he is a talented player, and they do have some talent on that offense. So come out right away, throw him off of his game, get in his face, make sure that he does not feel comfortable all day. And I think we have both the coaching staff and the players to do that.
And put on the strap and sit him on the floor and don't let him get up. Yes, I don't mean that literally. I just mean to sack him a bunch of times.
Yeah. And then Joey here mentioned your whole front 4 is good on defense. They also got Sweat. Yeah, they are very, very good on defense. And the pass rush is the one thing about that defense that scares me. I think Josh, being as mobile as he is and being in the league 6 years, should help us with that. But we have a decent front 4 and front 7 too. We also, I think, have a better back end. So Howell will have to, his passes will have to be more accurate. I think it'll be more likely, or easier, I should say, for our secondary to be able to capitalize on mistakes than theirs, just based on talent level. I think we have a little bit more talent back there. Not to hate on Washington. They're a young, talented team. They play in a very tough division. But I like our secondary a little bit better than theirs. My offensive key to the game is going to be for Allen to stay patient. So I don't care if we don't have 40-yard bombs. I don't care if we don't have big explosive plays in this game. Allen needs to prove with some level of consistency that he can take the underneath stuff, take what the defense gives him, and be happy with that, and not get bored in the middle of games and decide that he wants to throw 80-yard bombs with a 10-point lead. He needs to prove he can do that, not for one game, not even for 2 games, but consistently and when it's necessary. This to me is one of those games where it's necessary. Washington is not better than us. They do not have an edge over us in many positions. We lose this game if we give it away, just like the Jets game. I don't think quite as easy as the Jets game. I think the Jets game should have been easier because it was Zach Wilson. However, I think they have a better defense. They are in division, whatever. Either way, we only lose games to teams that are below us if we let them beat us. And that comes down to Josh lately. Is Josh going to be smart with the ball? I think that he is. I think that he saw that he could still throw for, 275 yards without going for the big play. That he can still be effective that way and still make some highlight plays like that throw to Shakir, which was insane. I don't think he'll ever get the kind of credit he deserves. He sidearmed like a flick of the wrist. And that was an insane throw. But I'm hoping that he can stay patient and play that relaxed, getting rid of the ball right away kind of football. Beth here said, agreed, Mom, play smart and disciplined. Exactly. Just stay within the game plan. We don't need hero Josh right now. Save him for the playoffs. Okay. So we will move on to the Josh Allen stat line. Okay. So I can go first for this one. So my Josh Allen stat line, I think that his yards are going to be up a little higher than they were last week. I'm expecting him to break 300 for the first time this season, and I'm saying 310 yards and another 3 TDs. I'm saying 0 interceptions, and I'm not sure how much of this is the objective NFL fan in me and how much of this is the Bills fan in me, but I would like to at least see back-to-back games without any more interceptions. So we'll see what happens. What's your Josh Allen stat line?
My Josh Allen stat line is 23 for 33 attempts, 306 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Unfortunately, I think he's just going to throw a dumb pass. I think he's going to try and force it to Diggs, and then it's just going to get picked off.
I think that you actually had some other players you wanted to point out for players to watch, right?
Yeah. For the players to watch, I had Diggs, of course, because his brother just tore his ACL, so I think he's gonna have a monster game. And then for the defense, Ed Oliver.
He had a beast game. That is his celebration there. So yeah, I think both of them are definitely due for a big game. I'd like to see both of them go out there and ball out. We have a comment here. Hopefully Micah Hyde will be healthy. Freaking playing against Washington. Yeah, I think he'll be okay. But honestly, if we lose him for a game, this would be the game to lose him. I would be okay with that. So if he's not 100%, I think hold him out and let Rapp play his position. I think we can get by this game without it. To your players of the game, I definitely expect Oliver to continue here. He was a top 10 pick and he's finally playing like it. So that would be good to see. And we've already kind of discussed Diggs. As far as your Josh Allen stat line, I like it. I'd love to see 4 TDs. I'm okay with that. I would rather no interceptions, but we'll see what happens. Either way, keeping him to a minimum and not making him on stupid plays, it'll be a good day. All right, so now we're on to and in the chat, if you have a Josh Allen stat line you want to share with us, please put it out there and let's see. It's just for fun. It doesn't make a difference in the game, but we'd love to see what you guys think, and we'll see who's close next week. All right, so on to the hot take. You want me to go first for the hot take? Okay. So we already talked about last week's hot take. My hot take, I actually have 2. My first hot take is that I firmly believe Kincaid will be getting his first touchdown this week. I got plus 300 odds to bet it. And I even bet it as part of a little parlay to see. I had a free bet through one of the sites, so I decided to give it a shot. But I really believe Kincaid's going to get into the end zone this week. He's been effective and he's been part of the game plan. Clearly, Allen was looking for him last week, and he got blown up in the end zone. But I think he gets into the end zone this game. My other hot take, I believe somebody in the secondary will have a pick in this game, at least one. I believe it'll be one of the safeties, either Jordan Poyer or Micah Hyde, if Micah Hyde plays. If Micah Hyde doesn't play, obviously that one doesn't really apply. I think Jordan Poyer will play a different style game if Hyde's not in there. But Howell's known to take chances, and he's going to throw some balls up, and if you can disguise and confuse him, you'll have a shot at him. So Beth here saying, yeah, Kincaid is going to make a break for it and shine. I totally agree with you. You can tell the potential that kid has, man. Like that play where he broke like 3 tackles. I know he didn't go far, but I don't care. Like we haven't had a tight end like that in Josh Allen's time with us. And I love Dawson Knox, but to break tackles like that and be able to have those kinds of hands is really impressive.
In Dawson Knox, I think first in the game against the Bengals, he broke 3 tackles.
Yeah, but it was different. Those were power. And Dawson Knox also struggled with drops for a while. Kincaid, knock on wood, has been solid. The ball is thrown to him, he catches it. He's got no drops. There's one play that I could point to a negative for Kincaid. Now, I'm not looking at like the all 22 and the blocking and all that. But on the 3rd down last week, he ran a pattern and he ran it 1 yard short of the sticks. He was tackled immediately. If he runs that 1 yard deeper, it's a first down. Now, who knows? Maybe that was the way it was drawn up. I'm not an offensive coordinator, but I would assume that he had some discretion where to run that route to, and he's got to run it just a little bit deeper so that when he makes the catch, he's already got the first down, even if he's tackled immediately. But either way, he's got some serious potential, and you can see why they were excited to take him, why they took him number 1 in the first round with their first round pick. All right. So did you see your hot take yet?
I have not yet.
All right, let's hear it.
This is definitely hotter of a take than last game's. I think Groot will get 3 sacks.
Wow, in one game, 3 sacks.
3 sacks in one game. I think that they're going to be moving him throughout the line. I think they're going to put him on the edges, and I think they're going to put him on the inside ones, to confuse him. Sam Howell.
Yeah, I love it, man. I'll definitely come back to my opinion on your hot take there in a minute. You want to go ahead and read Joey's comment?
Joey said, I would definitely start Rapp. He had a fumble recovery last week, and he likes to lay the wood.
Yeah, he's definitely an old school big hit and safety. I think he will start mostly because he's got the most experience. That's what they brought him here for. However, it does limit us a little bit on defense. The Bills primarily play a nickel defense, meaning they have 5 DBs on the field at all times. Now, up to this year, that has always been the 2 safeties, the 2 cornerbacks, and then what's his name? Number 7, Teron Johnson. He's always been our 5th guy, but Taylor Rapp and a bigger safety who's slightly bigger than Teron Johnson has the ability to come in and be that 5th DB without giving up as much against the run. So we've been playing that a lot. And obviously if you pull Hyde out and you put Rapp in, you lose that ability to go with those 3 safeties. Now, who knows? Maybe Hamlin gets in there and he gets to get on the field in the 3 safety look. I don't know. But either way, I'm sure they'll have a plan for it if Hyde can't play. I don't want to take any chances with him, though. We need those guys for the playoffs. I'm fine with them sitting out week 3 against a out-of-conference team that we should be able to beat either way. And then Joey also said here, our defense is going to pick up work where they left off. With the Raiders, will be confused and running for his life. I agree. I think that McDermott is scheming up things to confuse this young QB. So good luck to him because Groot's been playing really well. That whole D-line has. I could see him getting 3 sacks. I definitely think he's going to get 1 in this game. But yeah, he's been in the backfield a lot. And he's another thing that's really impressed me with him. I don't know if you've noticed this. He's been setting the edge much more effectively against the run than he was last year. He is a little bit lighter than some of the guys at his positions. And he was getting pushed off of his spot a lot of times or stuck inside. And it was allowing running backs to run it to the outside. He's been phenomenal against the run this year too. So yeah, you use those long arms, get him up there if you can't get to the QB, but keep the pressure on either way. So I'm all for that. We'll see, man. 3 sacks. Like if you get this right, we might have to start letting you pick the bets for me because that'll be seriously impressive. All right, so on to our final segment here. We have a Josh Allen stat line here. You want to read that one?
Joey Hatch said 350 yards, 4 touchdowns, 3 passing and 1 running.
All right, I'll
I
take it.
I was gonna put the running stats, but I decided not to, just because he said before the season started that he was definitely gonna like limit his running. So I didn't put it because I don't think he's gonna run for that much.
Yeah, I will touch on that too. Allen hasn't racked up a lot of rush yards so far this season. I do think that this will be his highest so far this season, which isn't saying a lot. But I think that Washington line, they're going to get after it. Unlike the Jets, however, I don't think the Washington defense is as good at the second and third level. So if Allen sees an opportunity to break contain, I think that he stands a better chance of breaking off a couple big runs against the Washington linebackers and secondary than he would have against the Jets. I also don't think the Washington defense will be able to kind of confuse him the way that they did. They always seem to get Josh Allen's C game. I don't know what it is about. I don't know what they do, but and this dates back not just this year, not just last year. They always play us really tough defensively. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I would. I'd love to see him get in the end zone 4 times total. That would be awesome. We have another comment here from Joey Hatch. Buffalo gets 4 interceptions. Robinson will be shut down. 2 pick-sixes and a fumble strip on Howell. Defense tears it up. Wow. So you're saying 2 as in the number 2, right? Pick-sixes. So defense is going to put 14 up alone. My score may not be high enough if that happens. Wow. That would seriously be impressive. And a fumble strip on Howell. I could see him getting stripped in the pocket. Just with throwing some exotic looks at him up front and making him guess which rushers are coming. I could see him getting a strip sack for sure. And I could totally see 2 interceptions. So they just got to show up and play their game, you know? All right, final score predictions. You want to go first?
I will. My final score is 35-10 Bills. I I think that Josh is gonna score 3 or 4 touchdowns. And then I think either Damien is gonna rush one in or Cook is gonna have a touchdown. His
Okay.
first touchdown of the season.
All right. Lewis here also sharing either a hot take or a prediction with us. The Bills will have 3 sacks, 2 interceptions. Bills will win 34-20. He sounds very confident, and I love it. I will take 3 sacks, 2 interceptions, and if Group gets all of those sacks, you also got your prediction for the day, right?
I think.
Yes, I'll take that for sure. 34-21. That is close to the final score prediction that I have here. I think this is another game where we're going to see the starters pulled out by the fourth quarter. So I think the final score at the end of the day will be 31-20. I don't see this game being close, though. I think the Bills will jump out early. It'll be 31-10, 31-13 for a long time. And then in garbage time, the Commanders will add some points to the board against our backups. That's how I see it going down. Either way, I just want to see a good, strong game from Buffalo. I don't want to see what we saw week 1 because that's not our team, and that's not who we want to root for. I mean, that's not them playing anywhere near their potential, and it's frustrating to watch these guys with so much talent played down like that. So 31-20 is mine. 35-10 is Mini Mafia's. We'll also have a short out with Mini Mafia score prediction as well as a trick from the Mafia Mutt Tasker. So we'll get that posted very shortly. It'll definitely be up by Saturday. Yeah, keep an eye open for that. Meanwhile, there are plenty of really great videos and content on this channel. Mafia Sports Report from numerous different sources. Tommy really does a great job of bringing in a bunch of different voices. And there's kind of something for everybody. If you're more of an X's and O's guy or a girl, there's plenty of content for you. If you're more of a human side of things, there's things for it. Short videos, long videos, everything. So yeah, definitely check out the Mafia Sports Report channel. Anything else that you would like to add before we close this one out?
No, not really. Just make sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, comment if you want. Just have a great day, everybody.
All right, real quick before we close out the signature way we do. Lewis, I don't know if you were in here. If not, you can go back and watch it after we close it out. Kincaid will have his first touchdown in the game. That was actually my hot take. I totally agree. I thought he was going to get it last week too. So maybe I'm not the best source for it, but I didn't call that on the show. That wasn't my hot take. But I believe Kincaid will get in the end zone against Washington. If he doesn't against Washington, I would want to triple up on that bet against Miami at home. He is getting in the end zone very soon. That guy is too good to continue to be held out of it. The biggest problem right now is in that game against the Raiders, we had too many weapons to throw to. Like there were just, it was so easy to get the ball down to the people underneath that everybody was touching it. I think 9 different pass catchers. So I love to see that, but it is going to limit the individual stats a little bit more. But I agree with you. Definitely believe that Kincaid is going to score. So, all right. So nothing else to add?
No, just go Bills, everybody.
All right. Until next Thursday then. Go Bills.